So I initially became interested in seeing this movie after I found out that it borrowed a lot from the Court of Owls comic book. Now, I don't know if anyone has happened to notice this, but I kind of like the Court of Owls a little bit. It's pretty good. So this movie is called Batman vs. Robin, and it's the 2015 movie that I'm going to be reviewing for the weekend since I already said last week that I'm not going to go see the new Terminator because I'm not going to give the studio money to make more shitty sequels, and that's that. So, with that being said, this movie follows Bruce Wayne as he's trying to bring up his newest Robin, who also happens to be his own son, Damian Wayne. Now, even though Bruce was raised by Alfred Pennyworth, he never really had a real father in his life, and so he doesn't necessarily know how to bring up this child. So, he's kind of fumbling through it, and he's a little overly protective of his son. He's not very trusting of him, and he also comes off as being very cold sometimes. And as a result, Damien is becoming more rebellious and hard headed. And, one night he comes across this guy called the Talon, who is a lot like Batman, only he says that it's okay to kill the criminals that they're going after. So as Damien starts to gravitate more towards him, there's a pretty heavy conflict of interest between him and Bruce. Now, as far as the Court of Owls storyline goes, I do think that they really do it justice in this movie, but don't expect it to be a straight adaptation of that comic book. I mean, from what I've said already, it's more about the sort of that Damien is going through between the Talon and Bruce Wayne. But again, they do the antagonist justice in this, and they are a very menacing one for the heroes to go up against. There was one particularly well done scene where Batman is fighting off these sort of mindless Talon soldiers, and he breaks one of their necks, and then it continues lunging for him before he has to take it down. And for the record, he only resorts to breaking its neck after he figures out that what's underneath the suits aren't exactly people. And there's another villain that they feature very early on in the movie called the Dollmaker, who I had never previously heard of, but apparently in the comic books, he was a little more of a flamboyant character, I guess, and not very easy to take seriously. But in this, they made him a very creepy serial killer, and he is the right type of villain to start the movie off to show that Robin is, way over his head as he's trying to go out and do what he wants to do. So the movie has a pretty good veil of psychological horror going for it, as well as, the detective story and the action superhero movie. And the action scenes in it are very well done too. There were quite a few moments during the fight scenes where I could actually feel the hits. And, that's not a very easy thing to do when it comes to animation. So, good on the makers. In the end, there's not a whole lot for me to say about the movie. I think it's a very solid film, and if you're a fan of Batman, then it definitely comes highly recommended. And I understand that this is the sequel to another animated film called Son of Batman, which I have on DVD, but I haven't seen it yet. But when I do, I will be reviewing it for this channel. But until then, I hope you all have a good one.